Welcome to Pro Gun Live.
There you go.
Adrian, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. There you go. We are on.
All
There
right,
you
well,
go.
that's perfect. Glad to have you on the channel, brother.
Hey, man, same here. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here.
This
I'm,
is awesome.
hell yeah, it is. I did not know that you could do that because now I understand what you were telling me now on the mobile app because I don't normally do it on my computer. I don't do it
Right,
on
and
the mobile app.
yeah, I tried doing it on my computer and it wouldn't let me do it.
That's crazy because I only do it on my computer. I don't understand that. Okay. I hope that's not something that you two went ahead and changed. Hey, Barbara, how you doing? We got Kaden. Hi, Kaden. How you doing? What's going on? Are we live now? We on?
Yeah, we're on, man.
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing a test. Okay, well, I guess we
No,
on.
no. And to answer Caden's question, 1911 is a awesome gun. It's actually one of my favorite. It's the probably one of the best triggers right out of the box. Before we get started, Adrian, I have a topic that I'd like to discuss. Um,
Yes, sir.
before we moved to the great state of Tennessee, my wife and I originally were from New Jersey. And about a week ago, there was a report of illegal firearms activity,
Okay.
and two police officers pull up to the scene. And before they got to get out of the patrol car, a 14-year-old kid opened fired on them before they even got out of the car.
Oh,
One
Jesus.
died. Yeah, one died. One is in critical condition. Um, when things like that happen, first of all, I really hope that kid gets charged as an adult. But
Yeah,
when those things happen, the first thing people start talking about is, the parents should be responsible. Um, and I'm kind of on the fence with that because that kid had a stolen gun. So
yeah.
his parents, they didn't know what he was going to do once he walked out the door, right?
Correct.
Um, but in certain cases, when a firearm is just left around, you do have a obligation as a gun owner to make sure that your firearm is not accessible to unauthorized users who could be
And a minor.
minors or felons, um,
Correct.
people under the influence, etc. So, it's kind of hard. I mean, even if you have a gun safe, right? I mean, you don't know if the kid found the combination, and so I'm kind of on the
Correct.
fence about the parents being responsible all the time, especially when a gun is stolen. So, what do you think about that?
To be honest with
Yeah,
you, I was here legally, but I was here more on a permanent residence, not U.S. citizenship. So I've always
Yep.
wanted to vote, but I never had a chance to. But I was able to vote in 2012 because, in '08, Obama had already won. But anyway, so I voted for Trump. For those who don't know me, I'm a big Trump supporter. If you don't like it, then you don't have to be one of my subscribers. If you don't like what I believe, then I'm sorry. But anyway, to answer your question, I do believe that whoever pulled that trigger is the one that's responsible for the death of an innocent person.
Yep.
Whoever went ahead and pulled that trigger should be charged. I hate the fact that anytime something like that happens, they want to go ahead and come. Well, the liberals want to come after the gun manufacturer. Oh,
Yep.
guns are dangerous. Guns are this. Guns are that. I got plenty of guns. I'm frank. And anytime I go in my range right behind my house, I make sure that I remember gun safety before I even pick up the gun. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um, so I don't like how people are always saying, "Oh, you know, um, why do we need 15 rounds on a handgun? Why do we need 30? Why do we need 35? Why do we need 40?" Well, Frank, think about it. Do criminals follow the law? Exactly. You don't have to answer because you already know the answer is no. So if law-abiding citizens like me have the right to bear arms and protect ourselves, well, if you take the guns away from us, then how the hell are we going to protect ourselves from criminals? Does that make sense?
Exactly. And not only that, it used to be in the good old days. Um, if you had a home invasion, it was one guy strung out on crack, right? But
Yeah.
now it it's not uncommon to have three or four people doing a group home invasion, right?
Hmm.
And if you have a limited capacity, some of them are on meth and they're all strung out, and some of them wear body armor. You may shoot
Yeah.
the guy 4 or 5 times before you realize he didn't go down because he's wearing body armor. So
Correct.
you know, and the other issue is, everybody's worried about keeping the guns out of kids' hands, right?
Hmm.
Um, I know someone who has a mother that has got dementia, and they have guns all over the house, right?
Yeah.
She called him up one day and told him people were breaking into the house, and he pulls into the driveway, and she came outside firing. She had no idea where she was or what she was doing.
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me before, but we're so worried about making sure that kids can't get access to the guns. Nobody ever thinks about elderly people with that are senile or have dementia that may have guns all over the house, and you don't even
Correct.
know what they have or where they have them.
Yes, sir. Well, Bogey Rhea went ahead and said that they want you to be dependent on daddy government. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. But at the same time, as I stated before, Frank, um, as a law and abiding citizen that you are, and I'm sure everybody in the chat is, and I am, we believe in the Second Amendment right, which means in your state, you can open carry. In the state of Florida, we try to get an open carry, but it's not available yet. So I have to go through the proper channel for me to be able to conceal carry. I went to the class, I paid my dues, I paid my fees, I pay taxes, I'm a U.S. citizen, and then I got approved for it, I think about a good 20 years ago. And I've never had to use it against anybody, and I hope I don't. But if I do, I'm going to make sure that you won't do me any harm or do my family any harm. I'm gonna get you where the sun don't shine, if that makes sense.
I got you, and I agree with Boogie Ray. The proper use of guns have not been passed down from generation to generation. Um, when I was a kid, my dad taught me how to shoot. My dad taught me how to respect guns. And I'm sure there's a lot of new gun owners out there that don't pass down uh, common gun safety to their kids.
Yeah. Well, my son is 18, and when he was 13, I taught him how to shoot from the 380. I'm sorry, from the 22, the 380. The 9 millimeter, he don't like it because he don't like the recoil. But I told him you just have to get used to it. It's okay. Every gun shoots a little different. Some may shoot a little harder. Some may shoot a little softer. But anyway, my daughter, 50-year-old daughter, she also knows how to shoot from 75 yards. Frank, if you've seen that video that I did, the velocity test with the Smith& and Wesson 22 rifle, AR-15 22,
Yep.
I put 6 soda cans at about 75 yards. That was her first time shooting, and she hit every single one of them after teaching her what to do for like a good 20, 30 minutes. She hit them one by one. I
That's
thought that was
awesome.
great.
You know, if people watch my videos, they know I'm not a huge fan of 9 millimeter, even though I own a lot of them because um, all the new guns that
I'm
come
shocked to
out
hear
are
that.
all.
I was shocked when you
Uh,
said that because I love 9 millimeter. I got a whole,
well,
I got like 70 different ones.
well, and let me tell you something. It's got nothing to do with the 9 millimeter cartridge. Okay,
Yeah.
9 millimeter is definitely a worthy cartridge. But when I was a kid and my dad taught me to shoot, the first gun he taught me to shoot was a 45 long Colt, and then he taught me how to shoot a 357 Magnum.
Okay.
And I learned how to shoot those two guns when I was probably 10 or 12 years old.
Yes, sir.
So it it's not that I don't like 9 millimeter because there's something wrong with it. It's just that uh, I learned how to shoot on a bigger caliber.
Yeah.
So I prefer 45 or 10 millimeter. But it's a little frustrating when you go into the gun store. Um, it's hard for me to get too excited about firearms because there's nothing, no new guns are coming out in 45 or 10 millimeter. They're all in 9 because um, they have to sell to the masses. So, and I do have
Correct.
a lot of 9 millimeters, but, and some of them are really cool. It's just that there is no, earth shattering, sexy guns coming out in 40 or 10. And I understand that, um, 9 millimeter is also cheap to shoot.
Yeah.
Um, it's easy to shoot, so I get that. It's just I like having something different.
I do have a question for you and everybody in the chat that's listening right now. Why is it that 380 ammunition is smaller than the 9 millimeter, but yet it's more expensive to buy? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I could tell you why. It's
Go ahead.
because the 9 millimeter is NATO brass. There's boatloads and boatloads of 9 millimeter brass that the military uses, law enforcement uses. Um, that's pretty much the main reason is the availability, and also as far as consumption, um, they're cranking out 9 millimeter like popcorn. They don't really mass produce the 380, and I think it just comes down to availability of the brass and setting up a production line uh, for 380 when the volume of sales is just not there.
Okay. Do you like 380s or you against 380s?
Yeah, honestly, my wife has a Smith& and Wesson Shield Easy in 9 millimeters. She also had it in 380.
Hmm.
There's really not much size difference in the uh, physical dimensions of the gun. If it were me, I think 380 is a waste. It's almost like shooting 38 special out of a 357 Magnum. The 9 millimeter round has really evolved over the years, and now you can get 147 grain 9 millimeter. Um, 380 for personal defense is probably the minimum I would go.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I get it that it's all about shot placement, but
Correct.
um, the 380 just does not have the penetration that the 9 millimeter has.
Well, that most definitely you're right. You know what, Boogie? Thinking you're a man. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't want to offend nobody. Question, Frank. What was the name of that person that was kind of being an asshole last week when you were doing your live? Do you remember that
I
person's
don't.
name?
No, I really don't. I mean, you know what? Every once in a while we get a wise ass, but you know what? Even those guys are welcome. I don't really care, but for the most part, um, most of the people were pretty cool, and
Yeah.
um, more people are engaging now, which is good. I mean, that's the whole point of this. I mean, we do these live streams for their benefit. This is a place where people could come and ask questions. And hello to you too, Rena.
And if you don't mind me saying this, Frank, guys, if you please go ahead and hit the thumbs up on the stream, I really appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up, smash that like button. I think we have about 40 plus people watching right now.
Yeah, this is good. We get more and more people every time, and like I said, this is a place for anyone who wants to discuss firearms or ask questions. I know um, sometimes leaving questions in the comments. I don't know about you, Adrian, but sometimes I just don't get notifications to all the questions. So um, these live streams are a good way to answer questions people may have.
Um, see, Lavov said, "How many hardworking people does it take to screw in a light bulb?" I don't know. I'm assuming one. For the guy, I love it when people just
I
interrupt in the chat. I love it. It
I do
cracks me
too.
up.
You know what? It's entertaining. It really is because the weather was a crappy day today, and um, even dumbasses like that are fun. Oh, you're from Sydney, Australia, and we can have guns but can't use these. Well, that kind of doesn't make sense.
Not at all. Why have them if you can't even use them?
And Boogie Ray, we all forget our rights until they turn them into privileges. Yeah, I agree with you. Um, that's one of my arguments for years that you know driving is a privilege, not a right, and you can drive in any state in the country with a driver license, but the right to keep and bear arms is a right, not a privilege, and every state makes up their own bullshit rules.
Mix up their own bullshit. You took the words out of my mouth. Because the things I could do here in Florida, I'm not allowed to do it in South Carolina or North Carolina or every other state. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. Which I don't think is right, but it is what
It's
it
not
is.
right. I mean, they have to. Hopefully, with Trump in office now, they'll do this on a federal level. Um, you can't just have individual states doing whatever they want. And to answer your question here, Twisted Cap, I don't know what to tell you about that. Unfortunately, I do live outside of city limits, and I don't have any neighbors that call the police when I shoot in the backyard. Matter of fact, um, if I go outside on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, it's not uncommon to hear a lot of my neighbors on the street shooting their guns. So I feel for you. There's always one in every crowd. Um, sorry, you got one of those where you live.
I know I've had several neighbors call the police on me because I'm actually talking practice the back of my house. But when the police came to my house, they saw that I was doing it legally. I have a big old, like 8 or 10 foot, big old pile of dirt, and I'm shooting into the dirt. I'm not just shooting, just wild and crazy. So once they saw that, they tell me, "Keep on going. You're doing it right. Have a good day," and they never came back.
Yeah,
Now, Frank,
yeah. It's kind of strange here. Um, in Tennessee, all that matters is that you don't live within city limits. There's no requirement as far as how much property you need to own. I mean, the size of your property could be the size of a postage stamp, and you could
Yeah,
still shoot in your backyard, but you own every bullet that leaves there. And our
correct.
backyard is really not that big, um, and it's not as much fun. So I normally shoot into the dirt because the way our backyard is configured, it goes up on a hill, and it's not going to hurt anybody. But we have at the top of the hill, there's a barbed wire fence, and there's 100 acres of farmland, and the guy owns cows and bulls, and you hate to take out your neighbor's livestock, right?
Yeah,
So I typically just shoot in the dirt. It's not as much fun as the range, but the range is a bit of a drive from here. It's just not convenient. And if I'm reloading ammo and I want to test it, it's a lot easier to just go in the backyard and pop off a few rounds before I go out and crimp 1,000 rounds.
yeah. Um, I didn't make any videos yesterday or today, Frank. Number one, I've been busy with my 3-year-old. That little lady just keep me busy, and my 15-year-old daughter, she's with her mom. So, but I do have a couple ideas for a couple of videos that I do want to make. I do want to ask you, Frank, how do you like that new Taurus you got?
The G3C,
Yes. How do you like
the
that
G,
thing?
it's actually a really nice gun. Uh, I'm torn on the only thing I have a problem with is that if you buy the Taurus G3C, it's a fantastic gun for the money, right?
Hmm.
At about $250, but it's not optic ready, right? So now you have to go out and buy the Toro. And when you buy the Toro, now you're up to almost $300. At that price range, I still think the Ruger RXM is a much better gun. Um, it's Glock compatible, uses Glock magazines. You could use your Glock holster. It's optic ready. It's made in the USA with a lifetime warranty. Um, if it were me carrying it, I just have more confidence in a Ruger for everyday carry.
Yeah.
I'm not bashing Taurus now. I mean, Taurus came a long way, but they turned out a lot of shit in Brazil in the 80s, and they got a bad rap for a long time. But the quality control has increased. I mean, they make great revolvers. Um, but I mean, for the money overall, if you don't care about it being optic ready, you can go to the local Rural King here, and for $225, you can get a G3C, and it's very good value.
Yeah.
I picked up
Um.
today. I can't show it because I learned my lesson. Um, my buddy, the gunsmith, I've always wanted to get my hands on a Palmetto State dagger, and I
Okay.
have one now that he gave me to review, um, which is it really is a Glock clone. See the Ruger RXM, even though it's built on the Gen 3 technology, it doesn't advertise itself as a Glock clone, and it shouldn't. It's really not a Glock clone. It's got a lot of features that Glock doesn't have. But the Palmetto State Armory is a true Glock clone. I got to tell you, I'm really impressed at the quality of that thing. And I've seen those things on sale for about $250.
Are we
And
talking about a PSA dagger?
yeah, you
Is
can
it really
catch.
that cheap?
I've seen them on sale for about $250. And
Okay.
um, when you get one of those things at $250, you could buy a gun belt, a holster, and ammo. And um, you know, I I'm not saying it's the same quality as a Glock, but for what you're paying for it, it's not a bad gun. My only concern with it is that the Glock 19 has been out for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how long a PSA is going to hold up. I mean, everything shoots out of the box, right? I don't know if after 1,000 rounds, the springs are going to stop working and it's going to fall apart. Um, but you know, first impressions by looking at it, the weight and everything, um, that only time will tell. And some people love them, some hate them, just like Glocks. I mean, some people hate Glocks, and all I know is I've had Glocks my whole life, and they go bang every time. So
So if I'm not mistaken, the PSA dagger is kind of the same size like a Glock 43X, something like that. Am I right?
it's the it's actually it's identical to the Glock 19.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and
I've never seen one in person.
and I'm actually going to be reviewing one this weekend.
Okay.
Um, one option with the PSA is that you have options. You can buy you can buy the complete gun. You can buy frames. You can buy slides. So you can pretty much mix and match it and build your own. Um,
Okay.
if you have a Glock Gen 3 and you're bored with the black frame, you can go to PSA and they have in all different colors for like $50. Um, and it's pretty cool. I
Can you
just,
do
like
me
I said, good.
Can you do me a favor, Frank? Can you put the link to my channel on the chat, please? If anybody would appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe to my channel and help me out, help me grow the
Yeah,
channel a little bit more. I would really appreciate that.
I'm getting it. I have two different browsers, so I don't get all hosed up.
Twisted Cap 17 said, "What do you think about radical firearms?"
All right, guys. It's the link to Adrian's channel. Check him out.
I would
I
really
have
appreciate the love and
never,
support.
I have never seen the brand Radical Firearms.
That's why I was asking, because I don't think I've seen one either. Matter of fact, I don't even know what a radical arm is. Radical firearm is.
And to answer your question, Boogie, the PSA, the PSA and High Point are nowhere near in the same category. The High Point is the biggest piece of shit I have ever seen. I If you have to rely on a High Point, you know, my feeling is if you could spend $150 on a High Point, save save more money from your paycheck, and next month go buy the Taurus or something. Um, you know, I get it that everybody has a different budget, but when I buy a firearm, I'll be honest with you, price never comes to mind.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll buy a budget firearm just to review it because everybody doesn't have the financial means. But I mean, I don't ever take price into consideration. I mean, when I bought my Colt Python Combat Elite, I didn't bat an eye at $1,500. I mean,
Yeah.
so you see what my point is. My point is not let me go buy the biggest piece of shit for the lowest price so I could protect myself. I,
Yeah.
I
You know, Frank, I learned something new. Twisted Cap 17 said Radical Firearms actually, I guess, a company that make budget
yeah,
AR-15, and also Midnight Marksman said that. Thank you for letting me know that because I have to look it up myself. I've never ever heard of that brand before, so I have to take a look at them and see what they have. I got like 7 different ARs, but I've never heard of Radical Firearms at all.
I haven't either. I started building my own ARs. I built a couple AR pistols. So for me personally, um, I rather just build them because I know the components that are in them because I may buy the components from multiple places and I know what's in it. I mean, even if you go out and you buy the Smith and Wesson um, MP 15, uh, you may not like the trigger, you may not like the grip, etc. So when you build your own, you pretty much get to make it exactly the way you want,
Yeah.
and you can build your own AR-15 for under $500. I think I built my two AR-15 pistols for about 450. Yeah,
It's kind of crazy how we could go on YouTube and talk about the guns, but you cannot show them because if you
Yeah,
do,
and I don't
it's kind of
understand that
crazy.
because you know, I don't know. Maybe they don't let you display guns on a live stream because they don't want people to go live and blow their brains out or something. I, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, right? I mean, you're allowed to produce a video showing guns and shooting guns as long as you're not doing anything stupid. Um,
Yeah,
and a couple weeks ago, in the middle of my live stream, I just held up a gun and showed it for a couple of seconds, and they took the video down and they spanked me and gave me a warning. I just don't understand what they're trying to accomplish, other than maybe they just don't want people to turn on a live stream and do something stupid live on the air. I don't know.
yeah. Which I'm sure it probably happened before, and that's probably why they have that rule. People
I
is
guess.
some people are just dumb as hell. So it blows my mind how dumb people can be sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. People are stupid. I mean, I'm actually going to be doing a video soon on uh, accidental and negligent discharges because people are stupid. Um,
Mhm.
and there's a huge difference between an accidental discharge and a negligent discharge, especially the way the law is going to see it. Um, but negligent discharges are 100% preventable 100% of the time, right?
Yeah,
It's like it's like a car accident. They're not all accidents. Matter of fact, very few are accidents. There's a difference. The accidents are something that can't be avoided, like you're going down the highway and your tire blows out, right, or
correct.
your brakes fail. The collisions are negligent, and in an accident, usually nobody is negligent and nobody's at fault, right? But you see a lot of collisions, and collisions are because somebody's negligent or at fault. They're either drunk or they're texting or they're not paying attention or they take a turn faster or they're talking to people in the car, right? So I
Yeah,
mean, that's pretty much the same difference between an accidental and a negligent discharge with firearms.
you got a point. You got a point. I'm a truck driver for a living, and I put up with BS on the road every single day. And it's ridiculous the stupid things that people do.
Yeah, I give you credit, brother, because let me tell you, first of all, I hate driving cars. I only drive a car because I have to. I'm a biker. I could ride a motorcycle 7 days a week, but not cars. And I have a few friends that are truck drivers. Uh, I'd slash my wrist if I had to, you know, sit in traffic or in the snow for 8, 10 hours at a time. Um, I I was working at a company in Springfield, Massachusetts at one time, and I was coming home. And the way I normally came home was all blocked out, so they had me go through uh, the Cross Bronx. Uh, and I got to tell you, I, the traffic was so bad. I was so tempted to just leave my damn car on the side of the road and call a taxi. I couldn't imagine doing that every day, especially in the bad weather and stuff like that.
And in the state of Florida, it seems like when the weather gets bad, when it's raining, that's when people really want to be stupid and do stupid
Yeah,
shit. Literally.
yeah.
Every day, some bullshit over here in Florida. Every day.
I mean, when I was in New Jersey, we were only 15 minutes from New York City. And the traffic was really heavy. I mean, when you're on Route 80, like on a motorcycle, you could be doing 70 miles an hour and you're getting pushed from behind by somebody in a Winnebago. You know,
Yeah.
now I come down to Tennessee and it's just the opposite. These people drive 30 miles an hour. And if it's going to snow down here, these people lose their shit. They can't even drive in good weather, let alone, the snow. But the
In
people are
Florida
nicer.
for the Here in Florida for the first time in 37 years, it finally snowed. I think it was in early January. We literally got about a good inch and a half of snow. People were losing their mind. The Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, literally shut down Florida, literally for a little inch and a half, probably even less than that. Because the second it hit the ground and melted. But he shut down the whole damn state, just about. We actually
So,
had to stay home.
so let me ask you some, and everybody else out there. Um, if you're in a gun store, just walking around, and you found a gun that you've always wanted, what would it be?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, you can go.
Mine would be I want the Shadow System C920RXP.
What makes
That's the
that
one I
so
want.
special?
First of all, I shot one, and it already comes compensated with a compensator on it. And the recoil with that gun was probably, I would say, a 380 on crack, like light to where the recoil was barely there. And I was literally hitting that target from 25 yards, almost dead on center. I had a group of them up this big with that gun. That would be my gun that I want to buy. Matter of fact, I told the gun shop earlier, once they come available next week, call me and I'm gonna get one.
See, I bought my dream. I always wanted a Colt Python, and they released the Colt Python Elite. That's the gun I always wanted, and I got that. I wanted a Desert Eagle at one time, but it's just stupid because it's really not practical. But so I got the gun I always dreamed of.
Thank
Um,
you, Twisted Cap 17. I really appreciate that. And if anybody subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. And if you do have make gun content, I will follow you right back.
and again, we appreciate everybody here. Um, thank you all for joining. If you haven't subscribed to our channels, we'd appreciate that. Um, also, if you could like and share our videos, leave comments. More comments people leave, we rank higher in the search engines, and
Oh yeah.
gives
No.
us more monetization. And when we get more monetization, it allows us to buy more firearms to review for you guys because you know how expensive guns are. We can't be doing this out of our own pocket every week.
Yeah, they do get expensive, that's for sure. I went to the gun store earlier, Frank, and on my Taurus TX22, brand spanking new. I think I put about I think I put about 80 rounds through it. I took it out last night just to look at it, and I noticed that the front iron sight was loose. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" So I went ahead and I tried to find the tool for me to, adjust it, but I could not find it. So I took it to the gun store. They fixed that for me like in less than 3, 4 minutes. He went ahead and torqued
That's
it, put it
cool.
back together, no problem, free of charge.
By the way, you were talking about the Taurus G3, right?
Yes.
One good thing about it, and in case some of you guys out there have one, um, the one thing the only complaint I had about it is I hate those sights that came on the Taurus. I don't like the blacked out, and the dot in the front was really too small. And I was looking for Taurus night sights, and very difficult to find. Surprisingly, after calling Taurus and speaking to them, Taurus sights are 100% compatible with Glock. I just happen to have a set of True Glow sights on my reloading bench for the Glock
Hmm.
19,
Okay.
and I put them on my Taurus G3 today. And man, those things are awesome. They really pop in the daytime, and they're bright at night. So that's actually a nice benefit of the Taurus is that they do accommodate Glock night sights. So you don't need to go crazy, Googling Taurus night sights. Any night sights for the uh, actually there's Glock 17 all the way up through the Glock 45.
Nice. So
And that,
that mean they will be compatible with the Glock 19 as well then.
yep,
Okay. Good. Nice.
19X. I think what Glock does is, um, I think all the Glock 19 models use the same sights. They only change when you go to uh, 45 and 10 millimeter.
By the way, if you look at my background, you see that gun with a gold barrel.
Yep.
That's my Ruger RXM, and I have that
Nice.
4.5 inch gold barrel on it. I need to take that thing to the range and do some shooting today.
That's an aftermarket barrel, right?
Yes, that's for Safiri Precision. Yeah, that's how market one.
Yeah, I got these Hub
Yeah,
grip. I got to put them on this afternoon. Um, I have them on all my Glocks. I just I don't like the feeling of the hard plastic. I just like
yeah,
having a grip on them, and I was using Talon grips on most of mine. Um, the problem with that tape is the glue starts wearing off and
yes,
tape's wearing on. I
yes.
mean, they only really hold up for about a year.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm starting to use the little beaver tail hog sleeve like you just showed. Yeah, that's the reason why I stopped buying them. And they're expensive. They're like $30 for those tape. And then
Yep.
the glue just start wearing off eventually.
Yes, Tomahawk boys, this is live. And Twisted Cap 17. You know what? I didn't notice it until your comment, and I just looked at my Taurus, and yeah, actually, the rear sight does hang over a tiny bit. Um, I'm not sure it's enough to get hung up in clothing, but um, they still look great and they work great, and I'm still glad I have them. I hated those sights on there. I'm old, so um, I had a hard time seeing those little sights, and I run night sights on all my guns. My point I proved while I was doing the review of the True Glows is that people always say, well, if you could see your target, you could see your sight. You don't need night sights, and that is absolutely not true. And I did the example where I was in my office that was pitch black, and down the hall there was a nightlight, and I could clearly see if there was a bad guy down the hall. However, I could not see the night sights in my office.
Yeah,
So, to uh, dispel that myth, it is not true that if you could see your target, you could see your sights.
you're right. Now, Tomahawk Boys asks, what do you guys eat on a daily basis? Go to food. Um, Hell, I eat so much different things in a day. I think for me it would be, I like me a little ham sandwich. I could do that every day, all day. I don't know about you, Frank. I guess we just trying to interact with everybody in the chat, which it has
Yeah,
nothing to do with guns, food, but
no, yeah, I know. Some people just type stupid shit because they have no life, and the ironic thing is it's a gun channel, right? Uh, you know, it makes you wonder. I mean, they got to be a liberal, right? Because um, why go to a gun channel if you don't care about guns? And by the way, there, Boogie Ray, the nice thing about the True Glow TFOs, as opposed to regular tritium sights. Normally, a tritium sight is fantastic in the dark, but they're not that great in the daytime, right? So what TrueGlow did, the reason they're called the TFO is they're tritium fiber optic. They have fiber optic rods that have a tritium vial, so you get the best of both worlds. In the daytime, they really pop because they're fiber optic, and at night they glow really dark because they have the tritium vial. Uh, so I went through a few different night sights until I realized that they normally don't work that well in the daytime.
yeah, we went up to about almost 80 people watching. That's pretty good.
That's real good. This is the highest it's ever been, um, and I like the collaborations. More people are getting involved now than we had prior, so this is good. And there's some people out there that want to ask questions, but they feel intimidated because there's some wise asses out here. Don't worry about them. If you got a question, say what you want. Leave your questions. We'll be happy to answer them.
I understand what you're saying, Bulgaria. I, I'm with you
Yep.
100%.
Yeah. Uh, you know, you you live in a gun friendly state too, Adrian, and just like I
I
do in
sure do, and I
Tennessee.
love it. And I love it. I
But
sure do.
I don't take my gun rights for granted because all of that could change in one election.
Yeah.
You just never know, and that's why I'm hoping that President Trump does something uh, to protect the Second Amendment so that they can't keep changing it every presidential election. Disband the ATF. I mean, the ATF has by far abused their power. The job of the ATF is to regulate existing gun laws, not create gun laws. That's the executive branch of government. But yet the ATF makes up this bullshit gun laws about bump stocks and suppressors and things like that. That's not their job to invent gun laws. So I'm hoping that they disband them because this is just stupid now.
I agree with you 100%, Frank. Hey, it was the Cap 17. Are you talking about the Taurus TX22? Because to my understanding, the Taurus TX22 is the one that have the Toro version that comes with the optic cut already, or you can get it without it.
Yeah, that's correct, Adrian. All the Taurus guns called Toro. The only difference is that it's optic ready.
Okay, then perfect.
Um, and this is another thing I like about the Ruger RXM. Right, if you're going to sell a firearm and market it as a defensive pistol, it should already be optic ready. I don't like having to pay extra money. It's like what Taurus did is the same thing Glock did, right? Glock charges you another hundred and something dollars for the MOS version. You
Hmm.
know what? You at this day and age, if you're marketing a gun as a defensive gun, it should be optic ready, whether you plan on putting one on or not.
That's why I love this gun. This one right here, that Ruger.
Yeah,
Oh, the price of that one, that Glock 19X, costs twice as much as this one, and this one
yeah,
comes optic ready already. This one does, or you need a plate. This one is direct mount, right here.
yeah. When I bought my 19X, and don't get me wrong, the 19X is actually
I love
probably
it
one
too.
of my favorite guns, right?
It is for
But
me too.
when I bought the 19X, if you added $150 to the price tag of the 19X, you're almost up to $800, right? At that point, it opens up a whole new world of guns that are available. Um, so I opted not to go with the MOS version, and I just it came with night sights. So to me, for a defensive gun, at a minimum, has got to have night sights. Um, I changed my opinion about optics. A year or two ago, if you would ask me about optics on an everyday carry gun, I would have said absolutely not. Um,
I was the same way until I
After
got one.
having a few,
Yeah.
um, I like them, but I have found, you know, I carry 7 days a week, 365. I have found though that the problem with some of the optics um, is that they get all boogered up. You get lint and shit stuck in there, and it's hard to clean.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes, you may walk too close to a doorway and you bang the optic on the door frame. Um, it does have a drawback as far as durability.
Yeah.
Um, it's also harder to conceal, and it definitely can get hung up in your clothing. But as far as rapid acquisition, you just can't beat a red dot. I mean, it takes a lot of practice, and I think if you never trained before, I think an optic is probably easier. I know I've been shooting irons for 30 years, and when I went to the red dot, I was like the cat chasing the laser pointer.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Frank, Jeff Kendall said, let's see Doge cut the ATF. What exactly do you mean by that, Jeff Kendall?
Well, I think would I I don't know if he's misunderstood it. My understanding is Doge didn't cut the ATF. The Trump administration disbanded it. And it wasn't just to save money. It was because of the stupid shit they do. It's just like when you go out and you buy a suppressor, right? And you got to pay that $200 tax. ATF just realized at some point, hey, this is a revenue stream.
Ludicrous.
Why
Yes,
don't
very
why don't we
unremarkable.
why don't we start making tax stamps on every damn thing you buy because it generates a lot of income. But this has Jeff. This has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with their abuse of power and their taxation. And you know, uh, when you go buy a silencer, I'm not so hung up that you're in the national registry, right? Because every time you buy a gun, they know what you own.
Oh
Um,
yeah, most
but
definitely.
but to say that, well, you could have that, but you need a $200 tax stamp is just stupid. And like I said earlier, their job and the Trump administration realized that their job is to enforce existing gun laws, not to just make up shit every week. And that's what they do. It's a bump stock this week. Next week they're going to make up a law about, um, having a flash hider on your AR. Uh,
Yeah,
so I'm glad to see this stop. But they did. They realized that it was a revenue stream, and they just want to tax everything. It's like you build your own AR-15, right? And if you're not familiar with the law, if you're building an AR pistol, the barrel has to be less than 16 inches, right?
hmm
So, and on an AR pistol, you're not allowed to have a stock. You have to have the a buffer tube with no collapsible stock on it. Now, if I took my AR pistol and I decided to add a collapsible stock to it, it's considered a SBR, a short barreled rifle, and I have to go to the ATF and pay them $200 for a tax stamp, but I'm still allowed to own it.
yeah.
It's just silly.
Unfortunately, it does. But like you said, that's like a lot of people like to complain about the government, but they don't vote. If you don't vote, then you don't have a say so. How can you come to me arguing about something you don't like, but you did not vote?
It's just like it's like being a gun owner and being a Democrat, right? So you're voting for the people to take your guns away. Just it's stupid.
Well, some people at the job front, they argue with me. Oh well, Trump this and Trump that. But yet you love your gun. But if you would have voted for the other party, then when they take your guns away, like I'm like, you can't have it both ways.
No, and twisted cap. It's the deterrent. You see, so here's the problem. The deterrent is only for law-abiding citizens, right? The bad guys, they're going to get their they're going to get their suppressors. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
this is the whole thing about these dumbass gun laws. There's enough gun laws on the books. We don't need any new gun laws because uh, you know all you're doing is you're punishing law-abiding citizens. The bad guys are still going to have the high capacity mags, right? Like, take for instance, I used to live in the communist state of New Jersey before I moved to Tennessee,
and they're
and
really bad, Frank.
Governor Murphy destroyed that state. When my wife and I grew up there as kids, it was an awesome place to live, and then Governor Murphy ruined it. And in the middle of the night, with the swipe of a pen, Governor Murphy made everything over 10 rounds high capacity, right? And when you buy a gun in New Jersey, you have to apply for a pistol permit to purchase. Nobody can carry. And that pistol permit comes in three parts. You get a copy, state police get a copy, the local police get a copy, right? And it takes about 6 months to get it. You're only allowed to buy one gun with that permit. It's only good for 90 days. So during COVID, if you couldn't find the gun you wanted and that 90 days expired, uh, you'd have to apply all over again, right? And the problem with that is being that the state and local police get a copy of what you bought from that permit. I got a letter in the mail before we moved here saying if I didn't surrender my high capacity magazines by December 28th, I would become a Class E felon and they could confiscate my guns. I said to my wife, we got to get the fuck out of here. Um, and that's because, you know, they had a copy of my pistol permit that stated I owned a Glock 20, and the Glock
Yeah,
20 came with 15 round magazines. They knew exactly what I owned, and I got that letter in the mail. And Twisted Cap, glad to have you on our side.
definitely do. Robert Riley. I used to live in the communist state of New
Ah, Robert
Jersey.
Riley. Yeah, let me tell you, you know, some Robert, um, we used to live in Elmwood Park. Um, and when my wife applied for her pistol permit, I called the police department. No bullshit. I must have called them at least 15 times. And now 6 months went by. Okay.
86 people watching, Frank. 86 people watching now. Thank you.
Awesome. So 6 months went by, and I called the Elmwood Park Police Department to find out the status of my wife's pistol permit. And what they said was, be honest with you, this just isn't high on our priority list right now. And the problem you have in New Jersey is a may issue state. You don't have any recourse. You have to get your permit issued by the chief of police. And if your chief of police has a hard on for you and decides, well, you know what, Adrian's not a good moral character, I'm not giving him his permit. You have no recourse. You can't go to the state police. Um, I have a friend of mine that served 2 tours in Iraq, was an MP, carried a gun in the military, carried a gun as an MP. His police chief in New Jersey didn't like him, denied him permit to purchase a handgun, and he can't get one. And that's messed up. That's the
Is
stuff
that
that's
easy?
got to change. Now what they're doing. The problem is now what they're doing to a law-abiding citizen is they're going to encourage them now to go to Patterson and buy an illegal gun because the government won't let them buy one legally so that they can protect their family. You see, the problem is that the government makes people become criminals, right? It's like when New Jersey didn't allow anybody to carry, but then I don't know, Adrian, if you've heard about the Braun case um, in New York, where it was ruled unconstitutional to not allow people to carry a firearm. New Jersey didn't want to get sued, so New Jersey started issuing firearms. But
Okay.
in the middle of the night, Governor Murphy and their attorney general got together and they made up this list of about 300 places you can't carry a firearm, right? So
Yeah.
you can't carry if you're 1,000 feet from a school, 1,000 feet from a park, which, by the way, in New Jersey, everywhere is 1,000 feet from a school or a park. You can't carry if there's a parade or a public event, blah, blah, blah. So you're walking down the street carrying a firearm with a permit you were issued, and you cross the street and now you're a felon because you broke the law. And even more stupid, in New Jersey, if you are issued a permit to carry, you can't carry a firearm while you're in your vehicle. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
this is the problem with these individual state laws is that they get to make up their own bullshit things and you have no recourse. And this is why I'm really hoping that uh, the Trump administration changes that. And one thing, when Brandon was president, what they tried to do to go after gun rights, they were trying to have the head of I don't know what you call it. It wasn't Homeland Security. It was like the medical director declaring gun
The
violence
HSA?
as a health hazard.
Okay. The HSA, you mean the health
Yeah, so that they can
administration?
take your
Okay.
firearms away by calling them a health hazard.
Wow.
Yeah, James Spoonamore, and I agree with you. I think what we need to do, but it's nothing we could do. I think there's so many Supreme Court justices that are old, right? Like Clarence Thomas. While Donald Trump is president, I think all of these Second Amendment friendly 80-year-old Supreme Court justices need to retire so that Trump can appoint a guy that's 35 years old that's pro gun, so our rights could be protected for 30 or 40 years. 30 years from now, I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to care. But do you know what I'm saying? If they appointed young Second Amendment friendly justices, our rights would be protected for 30 years. We don't have to worry about
Yeah.
elections.
Now, Jeff Pearson, why do you say that you don't think Pam Bondi is a Second Amendment supporter? She's never given me that vibe that she's not. Jonathan E. said, as a Democrat, I don't understand why the Republicans support the U.S. Constitution. Damn, you really going to come in here and actually really say that? You there, Frank?
Yeah, I'm here. Um,
He
I
got
don't
to
know
be
how
a
to
hardcore
pronounce.
liberal.
Yeah, of course. And this is what the liberals do, right? They try to infiltrate. They drink the Kool-Aid. Um, they don't even know what fucking bathroom to go to, right? So how are they going to make decisions about gun rights?
Well, you ask a female, what is a woman? They don't even know how to answer that either.
Exactly. They don't even know what gender they are. I don't know how to pronounce Azomad. Let's flip New Jersey red. You know what? It's getting closer and closer. Um, the last time Governor Murphy ran for governor, some guy, I think that was a bus driver, that spent $100 on his campaign by buying donuts, almost won. Um, his, you know, considering, the guy didn't campaign long, so I'm betting it's just a matter of time, and New Jersey will flip red again.
Oh, we have another liberal, Aunt Mo
Another
A.
liberal. Yep, another liberal.
Hey,
The
thanks for
younger
watching, Mo A.
generation.
Thanks for
Awesome.
watching, man. Subscribe to the channel, please. Keep coming back.
We appreciate your comments though, because it is entertaining. I mean, sometimes talking guns, so it's good to break it up a little bit with dumbass remarks.
I agree with you, Bulgaria. I agree with you. Now, I do hope that Trump does make my permit reciprocity nationwide. Do you think that that'll be possible, Frank?
I've been on the fence with this since last year. I went to the NRA convention in Dallas, and Donald Trump promised national reciprocity. I don't think that's something he could promise, and I don't think we're going to see it in our lifetime because, um, there's a lot of rhinos out there, right? So we need all the votes. There's going to be Republicans that are not going to vote for that, and
Yeah,
none of the liberals are going to vote for it.
correct.
So I mean, as much as I'd love to say, yeah, he could probably do that, it's really not up to him. It's out of his hands, and I just don't think that he's ever going to get enough support. The liberals definitely don't want people to own guns. Um, you know, they love the philosophy of um, Schindler's List and Stalin and Hitler. They love an unarmed society so they can control us. Liberals are never going to go for allowing people to defend themselves.
Yeah. Did you read what Jeff Pearson said about Bondi?
I can't comment. No, I didn't see it.
He wrote, Bondi supported the red flag laws, bump stock bans, and not letting 20-year-old to own firearms in Florida.
And dual wield. You thought this was a gun channel. Well, you know what? We're trying to engage people to discuss firearms. We were discussing firearms earlier, but it's not really a political channel because unfortunately, politics does affect our right as a gun
Right.
owner and our Second Amendment rights. So you must be a liberal because um, whether you like it or not, the right to keep and bear arms is a right, and it's not your right to take away. And it does turn political because the liberals don't like it. It's just the way it is.
Mo said Biden sacrificed himself for this country. Okay. I think I'm gonna ignore Mo A from now on.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I think Moe was the one that was leaving those dumbass comments last week. Um, I have, I picked up, when I was at the gunsmith, by the way, my buddy Jamie owns the gunsmith. I get all my firearms from him. He gives me great deals, and he also gives me firearms to review. I can't show it now because I'll get in trouble, but I have a CZ 870 Bren to review. They don't make them anymore. It's a really cool AR-15. Um, and CZ makes great quality guns. And actually, I was kind of glad that CZ bought Colt because um, the quality of the Colt firearms started really declining the past 10 years. Um, and now that CZ bought them, the quality is going right back up there. And CZ makes great firearms. They're in Czechoslovakia, but they own Dan Wesson now. Um, so I'm really happy about it. I love CZ firearms. If you've, I tell you, Adrian, you're in a gun store, take a look at the CZ Shadow. That thing is awesome. It's about
Never
twelve
seen one.
hundred bucks. It's about $1,200.
Mm.
I did a review on it. It's a nice gun. Um,
Is it a polymer gun or is it all stainless steel?
it's all metal. It's all steel. It's a 1911 type gun, but it's not on the 1911 frame.
Hey, to be honest with you, Mo A, it takes a lot to get me upset. Trust me, whatever you're saying, we appreciate your comments. It's just that I don't want you to come in here, trying to get me to drink the Kool-Aid when I already know how I feel about the subject. So whatever you say is welcome. This is not my channel. This is Pro Guns channel. He has to be the one, you know what I mean, to establish the rules. I'm just letting you know how I feel. Whatever you're saying, I don't agree with, but it is what it is.
And to answer Johnny's question, you could buy a gun, join the military, become a porn star at 18. Well, first of all, depending on your state. When I lived in New Jersey, you had to be 21 to buy a handgun. But anyway, but you try to buy alcohol or smokes is crossing the line. You know what? Every time someone gets killed with a firearm, the first thing the liberals want to do is ban the guns, sue the gun companies, take people's guns away, right? So
Yep.
when people are killed by a drunk driver, I never once heard a liberal say, let's go after the alcohol companies. They don't ban alcohol.
Nope. Why? Because
Uh,
it's a money making machine.
right. And you have people like Nancy Pelosi that can't survive without drinking. So, yep, Twisted Cap, that CZ Shadow is an awesome gun. Yeah, Boogie Ray, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, though. I mean, individual states make up their own laws for everything. I really don't know um, how we can truly preserve our Second Amendment rights. Um, this is what Adrian and I fight for, protecting our Second Amendment rights. But I don't know whether they can ever actually be preserved as long as states are allowed to make up their own laws. Um,
And like you call it, Frank, their own bullshit,
yeah,
which a lot of time is a lot of bullshit.
And Michael, yeah, or ban cars. That's true too. You have people, you know, who drive reckless. There's vehicular homicide. People drive while they're drunk, but nobody ever comes out and says, you know, we need to ban a car. Now, look, to buy a handgun in some states, you have to be 21 years old, right? But you could drive at 16 or 17 in some states. So, yeah, Robert, that shadow is awesome. I like that a lot. I mean, um, and actually, I thought it was a lot of money, but um, you probably are really getting your money's worth, even though it's $1,200.
Yep.
Um, I have a hard time when I go into the gun store finding a gun that really makes me want to have it. Right after I bought my Python, I don't think there's any semi-automatics out there that I really now have to have. But I do like I do like revolvers, and I do. Every time I go in and I see the Ruger GP 100, I want to get one of those. That may be my next.
Yep. Well, brother Frank, my lady and my 3-year-old just got home. I'm about to be bombarded with daddy, 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 daddy. She's not gonna leave me alone at all. So I sure that we've been on now for 70 minutes, which is great. Thank you everybody for the love and support. If you did subscribe to my channel, if you can keep going, brother Frank, I'm gonna be in the chat, but I'm about to go ahead and head out, sir. Thank you for so
No
much for
problem,
having me.
Adrian.
Great to
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you, brother. I look forward to doing collaborations. We still have 50 something people here, so I'm going to keep the chat on as long as people are still here.
yes, sir. And
Um,
I'm gonna keep commenting as well. Uh, no me, no black, me Dominican head, huh? I don't. Okay, I'm sorry. Maurice, God damn it. Thank you so much for having me here, Frank. I'm looking forward to being
Anytime, brother.
on the stream again with you, sir.
Very good. And we'll collaborate on a gun video soon. We could each do half of it and put it together, and we can both publish it on our respective channels. So
No problem, sir.
great to
Everybody in
have
the
you, my
chat,
man.
thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me. I'll see you later.
Thanks, brother. All right, guys. So this is up to you now. Some people are complaining that, we were discussing politics, even though unfortunately you can't discuss the Second Amendment without talking about politics. So let's talk guns. Yeah, I agree, Robert. The way that slide, let me tell you, it's like butter. It's silky smooth. Um, I like the grips. Um, I like the hammer. It is an awesome gun. And the Saint, the King Cobra 22. I was actually looking at the King Cobra 357, but I bought a um, Smith and Wesson 686, and the King Cobra kind of isn't in the same category as a 686. You really need to go to the Python. And Mo, you're just a dumbass, so I'm not even going to answer your questions. Yeah, I agree with you, Johnny. If you can die for the country, you should be able to smoke until you drop and buy alcohol. I agree. All right, so let's go with Fletch 83. What are my thoughts on the 5.7 in a carbine? Um, I've only seen the 5.7 in a pistol. It's a nice cartridge. Um, I'm not sure. Like in the pistol, I still think a 9mm beats it, and in a rifle, I would take my 5.56 any day. It's kind of one of those awkward cartridges. Not that there's anything wrong with it. And hello to Tate Napier. Welcome. Thanks for joining. We really appreciate it. The 6.5 Creedmoors are awesome. I was thinking of getting one a long time. Um, I just wound up building more 5.56s, but one of these days I am going to get a Creedmoor. The 6.5 is just a great round. 5.7 has 800 feet, 100 rounds. My thoughts on it. Well, the 5.7 is not as fast moving as the 9 millimeter. Uh, and in a rifle, 5.56 or 300 blackout, um, I would think is superior. Um, I don't know. I mean, there are no bad calibers. I just think the 5.7 is kind of a goofy caliber. Um, and so what I don't understand. You know, I have a few 22s, and now the 22 mags are getting very popular. Um, Smith and Wesson just released one. I just don't know what the benefit of a 22 Magnum is, because I've never had one. I don't know how much more powerful it is than a 22, but why not just go up to a bigger caliber? And the Happy Swede, hello to you too, guys. Yeah, the 5.7 ammo is a little pricey. Um, I don't reload rifle ammo, even though I should. Um, I only reload for 45 and 10 millimeter. It's not even worth reloading for 9. I could go to Smoky Mountain Guns and Ammo down here any day of the week, um, and I could get a box of 9 millimeter for $10. Um, yeah, I agree, Johnny. 45 is an awesome caliber, and Tate 300 Blackout is an awesome round, especially um, in an AR pistol. Um, it's a little pricey compared to the 5.56, but I built a 300 Blackout pistol, and the thing I like about it is I could still use the same lower receiver, and I could use the same AR-15 magazine. So that's a big plus. And you love the 9 millimeter. You know what? There's nothing wrong with 9 millimeter. It's not an accident that um, most law enforcement agencies carry a 9 millimeter. I get that. Um, and the 9 millimeter has evolved a lot over the past 10 years, especially now that, they make 147 grain 9 millimeter. It has close to the same penetration as a 40 now without that snappy recoil. All right. So, all right, Fletch, I appreciate the background on the 22 Magnum. I may have to go get me one. I guess I have to now decide um, whether I'm going to get a 22 Magnum rifle or pistol. Tate, thanks for having you, brother. We'll see you next time. Actually, you know what? The same that actually is a true comment, and I don't care. I am old and I am fat, just like the 45. But you know what? There's a reason that 1911's been around that long. Uh, that 45 ACP is a man stopper. It's a great caliber. Recoil isn't that bad. Um, I prefer it over the 9 personally. That's just me. That's the great thing about guns is that there is a gun and there is a caliber to suit everybody, and every caliber is not for everybody. I love 10 millimeter, um, but I would never tell somebody to go out and buy a 10 millimeter. It's just not for everybody. I appreciate the turnout for everyone. We still have 53 people online. This is the best turnout I think we've ever had. This is great, uh, except for a couple of the dumbasses out there. And we even find you guys entertaining. I appreciate the dialogue, and uh, this is what the point of this is to try to have gun discussions. It's one thing to go to a forum and leave a comment, but it's good to have interaction. One thing, Saint, I got to tell you is I am super glad that the 10 millimeter has made a comeback. In my opinion, and I know a lot of people get all girly on it and start crying. I just think 40 caliber is just stupid. I don't understand it. What they did was they took a perfectly good 10 millimeter cartridge and they neutered it and they cut the neck down and called it a 40 caliber. I just don't see the fascination when um, you can get you can buy a 10 millimeter and shoot 40 caliber out of it. Um, I I just don't understand why you would even want a 40. But 10 millimeter is making a comeback. Almost every uh, company out there that manufactures guns are now making 10 millimeters. So that's encouraging to see. Yeah, you know what, Mike? I've been reading that about Colorado. Yeah, they are going through the ringer on that, and this is why I was saying earlier: don't take your Second Amendment rights for granted. Fight for the Second Amendment. Um, your rights could change in one election. Go out and you know write your representatives. Um, I constantly check on the gun laws being introduced in the state of Tennessee, and I write my representatives as often as I can because we need to preserve our rights and not contacting them. You know what? They know who votes for them. They don't want to lose voters. So I urge you to write your representatives and answer your question, Robert. No, I have never seen the 22 TCM. Um, Twisted Cap, I've done reviews on red dots. Um, and I got to tell you, uh, Hollow Sun, I just think is overpriced. I know they have the name, but I've reviewed Siley Optics and Zulisi. Check out my video reviews of them. My Zulisi that I put on my Ruger RXM for about 150 bucks is just as good, if not better, than the Hollow Sun. I'd put that up to the Hollow Sun every day. That's a good question, Jason, and I'll tell you the reason for that. Why we picked Tennessee? Um, my wife and I ride a motorcycle, and we've taken the motorcycle to Tennessee a lot of times. We did Tail of the Dragon, um, and every time we take the bike to Tennessee, we look at each other and say, I could live here. So the gun laws are friendly. There's no state income tax. Um, it's America here. We don't have the government tell us what to do. Our our property taxes in Tennessee are only $800 a year. My brother pays $13,000 a year property taxes in New Jersey. Um, the government doesn't control us. You do whatever you want on your property. So that's why we moved to Tennessee. And if you are thinking about moving to a state that's gun friendly, um, has a great quality of life, Um, I would highly recommend Tennessee. North Carolina now has been flip flopping. Tennessee has control of the House and Senate, so our gun laws will be protected for a long time. Um, in the state of Tennessee, you don't need a permit to open or concealed carry, and that's not just for residents. If you came down here to visit, as long as you're not a felon, you can open or concealed carry without a permit. So those are my reasons for living in the great state of Tennessee. I would seriously recommend you check it out. And we're in East Tennessee. Um, we're probably a half an hour um, outside of Knoxville. And Mo, you do realize that you're such a dumbass. Nobody's even answering you, but you keep doing your stupid shit. You are entertaining. But I personally, I like the rights that I have here in Tennessee, and I haven't been back to New Jersey since I moved here. I'm not going backwards. If I can't carry my gun, I'm not going. Um, if you like to fish and hunt, fishing is awesome in Tennessee. We have some uh, really nice big bass down here. And when you get your fishing license, they include the small game for free. Yes, New Jersey is the worst state for all of that. I got to tell you. I mean, I loved living there when I was a kid. It was a great state to grow up in until Governor Murphy took it over. Well, it's up to you now. Whatever you guys want to discuss regarding firearms. Hey, Mike. Hello, Montana. Glad to have you with us. And Rimmons, no, I did not serve in the military. However, I do support and praise the people that do. I agree with you, Saul. I hate the cold too. Winters were really cold in New Jersey. Um, Tennessee is not as warm as Texas is, but fortunately, I don't really have to shovel snow down here, and it doesn't get that cold. Cold is nice. You know what? If you grow up in a state that's really cold, maybe. I mean, I know people that are from Wisconsin and they love the cold. I know people from Minneapolis that love the cold. I guess it's just comes down to um, what you're used to. I'm old. I just don't like cold, and I don't like shoveling snow anymore. All right, so Rimmons, the Beretta 92 is the best weapon ever. You know, the Beretta 92 is a great gun. Don't get me wrong, but when when you when you start with the best weapon ever, that's just kind of tough because um, I'm not sure there is a best ever. It's just like um, when you compare sports figures, right? Um, the best ever is just means something different to everyone. But I agree with you. The Beretta is a great gun. How do you like that Stoker? I was actually looking at one. I was thinking of getting one. And Vartan, hello, welcome to the channel. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. We'd appreciate that. Like our videos, share our videos. You really want to piss off your liberal friends, share our channel with them. I like the HK. I almost bought an HK in 45 a couple of weeks ago, um, but they didn't have it in stock, and I'm kind of like a child when it comes to firearms. I want what I want when I want it, and if they don't have it, I don't want it anymore. I want what I want. Unfortunately, in Tennessee, just like Texas and a lot of other states, um, it's fairly easy to buy firearms here. There's no waiting period, and you could buy as many guns as you want. It's not like in New Jersey, you needed to apply for a pistol permit for every gun you bought. In Tennessee, I could fill up my shopping cart, and you just pay the guy. Yeah, Florida was never a consideration. It is way too hot there. Um, Actually, Dallas, Texas was our first choice. Actually, um, we were going to move to Dallas, and uh, we have friends that live down there, and we stayed there for about a week. And after the heat, I think after 3 days, we decided that uh, Texas wasn't for us. So, um, like I said, we ride a motorcycle, and we've gone to Tennessee many, many times, and I think for us, Tennessee is just the perfect combination of everything. Um, Weather, uh, people, gun friendliness, less restriction, and we will watch out for those tornadoes. Saying thank you for that. All right, Mike. To answer your question, what do I carry? I carry 7 days a week, 365, and I carry a 10 millimeter. Um, I used to carry the Glock 20, but it's a little big and bulky, even though I can open carry. Now I carry the 6 hour P320 X10. And if I'm not carrying a 10, I'm carrying my Glock 30 45, usually. However, when I go to work, I'm allowed to carry at work. So when I go to work, I carry my Springfield Hellcat Pro. It doesn't print. It's very light. And the thing I love about the Hellcat Pro is that you get the same performance that you would out of a big gun uh, in a compact footprint. And Robert, do I think medicinal marijuana card holders should be able to own guns? Yeah, I do actually. You know what? I've never heard of someone on marijuana that went out and killed people. Um, it's not like heroin or meth. Um, and the medicinal marijuana, it is a double-edged sword, because if you have a medicinal marijuana card, you cannot own a firearm. So you know, and the government makes it even more complicated. Where marijuana is legal, it doesn't uh, indemnify you if you are a truck driver or a bus driver, or your company makes you piss in a cup and you piss dirty. You could still lose your job, even though it's legal to um, openly smoke marijuana. So that's a problem that the government caused. But anyway, to answer your question, Robert, I don't see any reason uh, medicinal card holders should not be able to own guns. I just have never heard of anyone on marijuana committing any violent crime. Yeah, Robert. See, see, this is the problem. The the federal and state uh, laws are very contradictory, right? Um, at the federal level, they can issue things, but the states do whatever they want to do. And I don't know how they're ever going to stop it because um, even if they take it to court, um, like California has done, it takes years and years. And um, unless they classify firearms as federal, you're always going to have the individual states doing whatever they want to do. And I don't see any way of stopping that. Or worse, you know, have it done under President Trump, and then the next time the liberals get in, they just go change the laws again. Um, I really don't know what the answer is to permanently protect our Second Amendment rights. And in my opinion, they'll never be permanently protected. So don't take them for granted. You need to fight for your rights. And Big Andy 79, hello to you too. And thanks for joining. We appreciate that. It's 5:21 now. This has been going on since 4 o'clock. I will end the live stream at 5:30. So if anyone has anything they want to discuss, uh, please leave your comments now while we have time. Yeah, Robert, you see, this is what I was getting back to before. So these states that have stupid gun laws force people, they force law-abiding citizens to break the law in order for them to exercise a Second Amendment right. That's their right. Now, that's kind of messed up. Um, in Tennessee, there is no paperwork required for third party sales. So um, I can go in the gun store and buy a gun and sell it to you in the parking lot. That's why people go to gun shows. Um, you know, the average person is not trying to break the law, but they're not making it easy for us to be a law abiding citizen. And I agree with you there, Rimmons. Yes, and actually, I do know how privileged I am. Um, I came to Tennessee from New Jersey where I couldn't carry a firearm. So every day I wake up and I thank God I live in Tennessee. I carry 7 days a week, 365. I have the right to protect myself and my family, and I don't take it for granted. And I do know how privileged I am. You know, they should make it where it's mandatory for the citizens to own guns like they do in Sweden. You never hear of gun problems in Sweden. There's my big puppy. He just joined. Didn't even hear him. I have a 130-pound Great Dane who's very stealthy. He walked down, he laid down in his bed next to my desk. I didn't even hear him. Yeah, and we shouldn't. I agree with you, Robert. We shouldn't have tax stamps either. Um, like I said earlier, the um, ATF abused their authorities, and all tax stamps are is more revenue. And I think that the fact that they will be disbanded by the Trump administration, you may see a lot of that nonsense go away. And again, I appreciate everyone for joining, even the wise asses. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Um, like as many of our videos as you could. Liking and commenting on our videos moves us up in the search engines and it helps our monetization. The more revenue we generate, the more firearms and accessories we could buy to review for you guys. And another dumbass liberal. Good for you. It just amazes me how many liberals join gun channels. When you think about it, they're actually retarded because they're gun owners and they vote for people to take their gun rights away. Um, okay. Let's go. Brandon is right. That was one of the dumbest presidents I've ever seen in my lifetime, especially his stance on the Second Amendment, where the uh, 9 millimeter blows out a lung and the AR-15 explodes inside the body. You would have thought his handlers would have told him to stop that stupid stuff. My favorite German firearm. I'm kind of a history buff. I love the old German Lugers that the uh, Nazi officers used to carry. Every time I go to gun shows, I'm always looking for one of them. I like military firearms, and I've never been able to find one, but I would definitely get one of those. And we're down to 4 minutes. So, well, you only need a shotgun. Well, you only need a shotgun in your home, but you know you can't conceal a shotgun. So, and again, I appreciate the dialogue with you guys. This is awesome. We do this for you guys, and I enjoy interacting with my viewers and subscribers. Um, just gives us more of a connection, so it gives me a better idea of what I could do to improve the channel for you guys. And that is true. You can't direct someone with aggressive dementia too well. That is absolutely correct. But you would have thought his handlers would have just not let him talk about firearms. Matter of fact, you should check some of my videos. I've done some pretty funny videos of Biden and Kamala, who I call shits and giggles, and his stance on the Second Amendment and how our rights are not absolute by saying you can't own a cannon, when actually, in fact, you can own a cannon. Um, so check them out. Again, I would appreciate if you guys could watch all of our videos as possible. The more videos are watched, the more revenue we generate, and the more firearms it allows us to buy. It's kind of hard. I'm a small channel. I don't have the uh, bank account that some of the larger ones do to go out and purchase these guns. I'm too small for um, manufacturers to send me a firearm to review, so uh, I have to purchase it with my own money, and it gets expensive. 2 minute warning, guys. It's 5:28. I'll be ending it at 5:30. Again, I appreciate everything you guys do. That's better there, Happy Swede. You only need an AR, shotgun, handgun, and a PCC. That's absolutely correct. You do need one of everything. But if you live in a state or a country where you can't carry a firearm, then you're limited to defending yourself in the home. And then you are correct, though. Then you really do only need a shotgun. Yeah, you know what? If I got a good deal on a cannon, I'd get one just for coolness. Maybe even use it to put my mailbox on it. And you see, I disagree. The second coming, I don't think anything needs to be regulated. If I'm deemed competent and qualified to own and carry a firearm, then I should not be told how many rounds I could carry and what I could own, right? I've taken probably 500 hours of firearms training. I'm an NRA pistol instructor myself. If I'm deemed by the state to be competent and qualified to own and carry a firearm, then what difference does it make how many rounds I have or what kind of gun I should own? I don't think there should be any regulation to what you could own if you meet the criteria to own a gun. Exactly, Robert. See, this is what the liberal states don't get. They come out with more and more gun laws, which are only made to hinder the law abiding citizen because the criminals don't adhere to gun laws, right? And the reason for that is they lost that battle. They lost the battle with the criminals. They are never going to be able to take the guns away from criminals that are illegal. Exactly, right? So the only thing they can do is control us because they can't control the criminals. But they caused that mess. They caused that mess by putting more restrictions on the law abiding citizens. Exactly, JLE. California is one of the toughest. Um, New Jersey's tough. Maryland's tough. Illinois is tough. Look at how difficult it is to own a gun in Illinois, but yet over a holiday weekend, over 100 people get shot. You know, they should tell these liberal states something is that these states with the strictest gun laws have very high gun violence. So, doesn't that tell them that the gun laws aren't working? No, it's just because people that keep voting liberals in are just stupid. And yes, you should buy an AR 15. You should buy two of them. When the government tells you you don't need an AR 15, you need two. When they tell you you don't need any more guns, you need more guns. You can't count on the government to protect you. All right, guys, it's 5:33 now. Again, I appreciate everything you guys do. Love you all. And what kind of AR-15? You know, there's so many good ones out there. Ruger, Smith and Wesson, um, Springfield, Sig Sauer. As long as you buy a brand name or build your own. Um, but anyway, love you guys. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate that. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Like our videos, share our videos, comment on our videos. We do this for you guys, and it's an honor doing it. Thanks for watching.